Welcome to By the Numbers. I'm FM Tahiti. I should probably call it Beta By the Numbers again because we're playing on the public beta match engine. We played a few matches as well since the last episode. And you can see it's kind of gone really well. Don't want to complain or jinx things too much, but probably too well. I'll explain a bit more about that when we actually get into the match, so the video doesn't go on too long, so I could ramble on about it for a while. But basically, we drew in the first match that you saw, 0-0 against Donegal Celtic, our rivals. Then we beat Dergview 3-2, and it was kind of close, but I didn't feel like we were being dominated by them by any means. We were quite threatening all the way through that one. So Warwick, Bonis and Evans getting a goal, each apiece. Then we played Newry City, and again, Bonis popping up, Mitchell getting a goal as well. Actually, he almost had another goal, Mitchell, a weird kind of, not quite a bicycle kick, not quite a scissor kick. It was just a bit weird. It was a bit acrobatic, but he hit the post. And then we played in the the second round of the Bet McLean Cup, Portadown. So at the time, Portadown was second in the Premiership. Doesn't mean too much, it's quite early on in the season, but they're above us. And it took it to extra time, but we beat them 2-1. And again, nice and even. I didn't feel like we were a newly promoted side to the second tier being dominated by a well-established Premiership team. It felt pretty even. And they had a few players. So they had Gavin Little sent off, who used to play for us back in the day. And they also had a midfielder, I think Mark Mitchell, who they stole from us back in, I think, the end of the first season. But we beat them. Then we lost to Carrick 1-0. And to be honest, this felt like a really unlucky loss. We had a goal disallowed. Was it a missed penalty? Yeah, by Reece Hunter, so it could have been a draw. And again, Carrick were a team we played last season. They're relatively well established, kind of a yo-yo team between this division and the Premiership. But 1-0 felt harsh. Paul McKenna scored against us as always. He always scores against us. But yeah, 1-0 felt harsh, but fine. Then we beat in the second round of Steels and Sons Cup Moyle Park 6-3. Hunter, Devlin and Bonis all getting a brace, which was nice. And then they got their goals, but their goals were a little bit soft, to be honest. Then we beat the Malachians, which were kind of a youth non-league team attached to a school I think Martin O'Neill played for at one point. In the next round of the Cup, 3-0. It's complete no contest. Reece Hunter started for this one and he got a hat-trick. He's doing alright, is Reece. Then we played Larne in the first round of the County Antrim Shield. So Larne are top of the Premiership and I think have won the title the last 4 or 5 seasons in my game. So they're the ones I think in real life got a big cash injection and they are much better than all the other teams. And they beat us comfortably. I think 3-0 was harsh, but 3-1, 3-2 might have been a little bit close to where it should have been. But I was never expecting to beat them. But I was also slightly happy with 3-0 because I thought it should have been a much bigger gap before the match anyway. Then we beat Ards 4-0. So Devlin getting his hat-trick and Bonis popping up with one. And now we've got Limavady. So if we look at where we are in the Championship, I just click on stuff. What's wrong with me? There we go. If you look at where we are there, we are second with a game in hand on Donegal. So if we beat whoever we play in our game in hand, we could go top. This isn't the game in hand. I think everyone's playing this next match, but up we go, essentially. If we look at the team, there's a few players who were kind of wanted, a few bids coming in, but my players are actually starting to reject bids. Like I don't need to keep going in and offering them new contracts. They're quite happy playing for us at this level, so we're not getting as many for the senior team poached as we were before. We did make a change. So if you remember, we had Luke Mullahand, who was the goalkeeper in the very first game of the season. I looked around and got in Colin McCallion. To be honest, attribute-wise, he doesn't look vastly different from Luke Mullahand, just a bit better mentally, I think. But he was a player that we'd been scouting as a potential long-term replacement anyway. So he played for Tobermoor last season, and he had only 18 conceded, 11 clean sheets, and he was rated about an 80-something. He's rated as being just slightly worse than Robinson when we initially scouted him. And we scouted him again, he's rated as being better than Mullihan, so that was enough for me, so we brought him in. And again, he's done alright. Only 1 conceded in the league, 2 clean sheets. He's conceded much more in the cup, but then 3 of those goals were against Larne, so skews it a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with that as a kind of recruitment win, I think. So let's play Limavady then. So Limavady were in the PIL with us when we started, and they got promoted, and they stuck there reasonably consistently. You can see they got promoted there. They're doing all right. We've got some interesting players. So again, they're a team I think are a little bit stronger than us when it comes to the actual, depth in the squad and so on. We were originally predicted to finish bottom. There's a player missing. Why is there a player missing? What have I missed? This is what I've missed. If someone's come in, Dollingstown, non-league Dollingstown, coming in Sterling and Tony Martin. Our youth prospect who's going to get a chance. We played him for a couple of matches as well. He'd come on in the league and in the cup. We were easing him in. So there we go. That's another player down. So I've just gone on about how we're not losing too many players, and then we just lost that one. That's all right. Let's bring on Bender, really, that we need in there. Let's put Jeff Wright in. Youth prospect, fairly professional. In he goes. There we are. Kevin McCallion is injured, so we've got Downey playing in defensive midfield. And because we've been training him to do that, he's actually got that as one of his positions now. Originally he was just attacking midfield, I think. Well, centre midfield and attacking midfield. Interesting. Yeah, pick up where you left off when we beat the other team 4-0. So just this match, I think, for this episode. By the time this video comes out, the public beta's probably been going for a week or so. I'm a little bit ahead. I know I've got lots of work coming up, so I'm just trying to get stuff done, but I'm enjoying playing it, so I want to play it whilst I've got the opportunity and I can record. So I'm a little bit ahead. So this might have all been kind of dealt with by the time I talk about it, but I'm not convinced by this public ME. And when I say that, I don't think it's particularly horrendous. I don't think it's introduced any particular bugs that I've noticed. But I think by tweaking one-on-ones and changing how many over-the-top balls that split your defence, is this gone Evans? By making that kind of tweak, go on Devlin, get in there. Yeah, by making this, I'll say it eventually. By making those sort of changes, it's put us in a position where actually our defence is much better than it should be, and our attack, which we didn't have a problem with, is doing really well. So to be clear, I didn't really have a problem with one-on-ones in the older match engine. I thought they could be slightly improved, but not massively. And we did that kind of XG analysis that I showed you in a few episodes ago, where we worked out that we should have been scoring about 50 goals, and we were scoring about 50 goals. We weren't being cheated out of the goals by the match engine. But we're scoring plenty still. And bizarrely, our defence has improved. And you might be saying, well, of course it is. All these extra long balls that people were putting through. There we go. We had people over as well. We had extra. Good little cartwheel there. First goal of the season for Robinson. That outnumbering them on the break. Yeah, everyone was probably offside, so you couldn't have passed that. You're probably thinking, of course your defence is better. All these kind of bugged long balls that were going over the top of your defence have gone. Well, most of the ones I did have going over the defence weren't really bugged ones. I play a high line, or reasonably high line, really high pressing, and my defenders aren't very good. I should be getting punished by balls over the top, and that's why I've got a backup version of this tactic where I can regroup. Instead of counter-pressing with high pressing intensity all the way across the pitch with a high line, I've got a slightly lower standard line and a regroup options to stop that, and it works. But the reason why I got that high line and high pressing is because I want to win the ball back in certain positions and I want to pin them back in the box. But that's the cost. That's the real life cost. If you do that kind of thing, then you've got to be willing to accept that there's going to be a few balls over the top every now and again that you need to deal with. But I think for Football Manager, what this means now is there's absolutely no reason not to play a kind of gegenpress with a really high line. There's no downside to it. Like in these highlights, we've not seen many long balls over the top from them. And we're probably getting more in because we're set up to do that. Oh, good switch. What was that? Was he trying to kick his head off as he came by? Was he trying to do the same cartwheel that Robinson was doing, but didn't quite? It's not going to show the celebration, is it? Go on, get some airtime. He did a weird flip. That was a weird flip. Yeah, so I just think I'm a newly promoted team into this division. The teams around me are at least as good in the squad of depth and quality, if not better, and most of them probably better. I don't feel like we've massively improved the squad from last year. All we are is slightly more settled. Cockcroft, Devlin. We were rightfully predicted to be bottom, but because the weakness of our tactic isn't being exploited by the other teams anymore, and it's an exploit that they should rightly be doing. If you see an opposition team push that far up, giving you that much space, you would play up over the top. That's how it would be. But because that's not happening, our defence is really solid. And when it is happening, because the tracking's improved, they're not getting through as much. And because our one-on-ones have got better, it's just created this weird gap where we're challenging at this stage of the season the top spot, and we're a newly promoted team. And I know in Football Manager that happens. People do that a lot. They get that kind of promotion boost where if you get to the right kind of... He's going to get sent off, isn't he? Away he goes. It's next sub. Yeah, we're just not being punished for it in a kind of reasonable way. Devlin from there. And let's put Hunter on. Bonus. Trying to give Hunter a lot more game time. Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is just, I think people are going to love this match engine because it deals with the one-on-ones that people are getting irritated by, and people's performances are going to improve. I don't think there are going to be many people in the forums or on Twitter saying it's ruined their tactics and they're no longer playing as well. I think most people are going to get a bit of a bump because it's basically, at the moment, a kind of free hand to play a really aggressive, risky tactic with the match engine kind of helping your defence out a little bit. So attacking's got better, defending's lower risk. That's kind of like, even like now, with fewer players on the pitch, still playing the same line, they should be knocking it over the top, or should have been trying to. But they've not. Maybe it's just Limavady, and I realise, as I say this, I've only played about 12 matches. Played one match on the Tahiti save as well. Not played any of my Whitby saves, so maybe it's just, maybe this sort of boost we've had, these sort of 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and our cup wins, are just because we're in a good run of form, and give it a few matches, it'll all collapse. Maybe there's some kind of cost to come, but actually, we're doing alright. Because again, look, all the way down here, finances. We pay £208 a year us and Donegal Celtic are the sad acts that can't even pay £1,000 a year for our staff and players. There are some big differences up here. But when you actually look at this, we've scored 11. It's not the highest goal scorers, but we're up there. Third for goals scored. We've got the least conceded, and we've not done anything different defensively. We've still got Evans and Mitchell in the centre. We've still got Young on the left, and then Clark or Ray on the right. And we've gone from our proven keeper to our kind of unproven, but probably just as good keeper. We've not improved that back line at all. But apparently we're really good now. So I don't know. That's the thing, it's not like he's ruined the game or anything. I'm not going to, object to winning a title. It feels like it feels like there's been an overreaction by Sports Interactive to the overreaction of people on the forums and Twitter who didn't understand that if you play a high line with high pressing, balls are going to go over the top. Or that one-on-ones aren't scored as often as you think they are, but they're just more memorable. So I think it's not ruined the game, it's just I think he feels like a slight step back and to a sort of point of safety. It wouldn't surprise me if eventually people will start complaining that this is now too easy. And I'm not really complaining, it's just I was kind of looking forward to this being a bit more of a relegation battle challenge. I like the idea of having a season of scrapping it out and seeing what we do, just because that fits. But currently we're flying. So I'll play a few more matches and come back. It could all change. It could all be different very quickly. And again, by the time this video comes out, it could all be fixed. And if it is, just ignore me. Just put in the comments, what are you doing? This has been dealt with. Don't worry. Don't worry, future FM20. It's all been solved. Like I say, I'm recording in it ahead of time to try and get on with things and enjoy it whilst I've got the time to enjoy it. Probably taking my time a little bit more with the Tahiti one, because that's my kind of main channel sort of thing, but I'm really enjoying Belfast Celtic, even with these changes. So thanks very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, let me know how you're getting on, and I will see you in the next episode.